few weeks ago, I was put in a position that no photographer wants to be in. I mean, no professional in any case wants to be in. I get kind of stressed and flustered thinking about it, like that time, which is so crazy. Almost a month ago, I was traveling for work. So it was a 9-day job, or a span of 9 days with a few different jobs in between. So 9 days of traveling, photo, video, the whole nine. Everything was great. Started out in New York, had the great opportunity to shoot UFC 309 and shoot some photos with John Jones. Amazing opportunity. Also was shooting content for my spiritual father out in New York. Everything was gravy, everything was good. So we fly from New York and we fly back to here in California. And before any job, any trip, I always check my gear, lenses, everything, making sure everything's functional, batteries are charged. You know, it's just my routine. It's like just what I do. So we get back to California and I'm literally leaving in 4 hours to hop on another plane to go to Toronto. So from New York to California just to repack for the next job, and I'm headed off to Toronto. So in the midst of me packing for the next job, I get to the point where I kind of just want to repack my gear. I knew everything was good because I had just used it all weekend in New York. Everything was already packed, so it's not like I was actually packing my bag, just making sure batteries were good. And I grabbed my R5 and tried to turn it on. Nothing. Oh, you know, battery's dead. Pop in another battery. Nothing. Okay, I don't remember using this many batteries, but okay, I'll pop in another battery. Nothing. And I'm starting to get flustered and freaked out. Plug the camera up to the wall using USB-C. Absolutely nothing. And my stomach sank to the floor. At this point, I'm literally about to walk out the door to go to the airport. It's not like I have an hour or 3 hours before I need to leave. It's like I'm leaving right now. So I'm just quickly Googling how to troubleshoot Canon R5. Canon R5 not turning on. Canon R5 not booting up. Trying all these different things. Trying all these different little hacks with pressing this button, holding the shutter, releasing the battery, taking SD cards out and everything, and nothing to get this thing to turn on. So go on my way to the airport, and I'm just like trying to find something used on the way to the airport. The amount of time I had, it was either I was going to miss my flight or potentially get a used camera, and I couldn't miss my flight because the job was extremely important. I could not miss my flight. So I get on the plane, I get to the airport, and I just put up a post saying any of my Canadian friends have any recommendations on where I can get an R5. And I take off. No clue what's going to happen with this camera. I'm thinking maybe by the grace of God, you know, it was just like a technical error just from flying, that once I landed and got back to my next hotel, I would turn it on and everything would be good. And this guy just would not turn on whatsoever. And it was extremely stressful because this job was a 4-day job and I was doing photo and video, and this is my primary photography camera. I've done a video on this channel before talking about what cameras I use for what and how every job is kind of different as far as what cameras I'll use. But the R5 is my main horse for photography. So I was shooting my church. So my church was having an event in Toronto at the Coca-Cola Coliseum. And it's basically just event photography, behind the scenes photography, just capturing the whole event. So from the build days to prayer to the whole event, all the behind the scenes, capturing the lines and the crowds, you know, just basically event photography. And I didn't have a camera to photograph at all. So I reached out to my boy Kofi and was like, yo, bro, I'm in a pinch. I need an R5 like right now. Where can I get one? I'm in downtown Toronto. and he shoots me over some recommendations, and he was like, I think you should hit up Henry's. It's the closest one to you. So I fly over to Henry's, and lo and behold, they had one R5, just one R5 left. They had R5 Mark IIs, but I needed an R5, even though I could have gotten an R5 Mark II. I just needed what I lost, which was my R5 at the time. So they hooked it up in a way where it was like, hey, like they're kind of saving me. Like I needed a body right then and there. So I got their last R5 that was in stock, and it was $49.72 Canadian. So it's like $3,500. Yeah, like $3,500 US that I just had to drop, like not like unexpectedly, just having to drop $3,500 on a brand new R5. And I was so freaking hurt. I was so upset. I'm like, dude, I did not want to have to spend this amount of money on something that just technically failed. So to fast forward, did the job, everything went well. But once I got back to the States, I went straight to Canon, and I'm like, yo, what is going on with this? So they took it in. They're like, oh, not really sure. We'll have to do a diagnostic, blah, 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 blah. 3 days later, well, I'll say 2 days later, I got a text saying that the camera was fixed, but it was Thanksgiving. So a week later, I was able to go in, and here's the report that, you can see it right there, that Canon left me. So Canon said, camera is not so this is the description or the problems of symptoms. Camera is not powering on. Camera needs internal components checked. This is a tiered rate repair. Parts are included in the cost. Estimate reflects clean and check all functions. Repair to good working order. Please respond to estimate. And the estimate was $500, and I had just spent $35 just to get a brand new R5. So I had told them, I was like, hey, this is what happened, and I actually bought a brand new R5. So they gave me 20% off, which was $100. So it came out to $399. On the service details, as far as what was wrong with the camera, it reads as follows. Your product has been examined, and it was found that the DC circuit board assembly has shorted, causing the unit to no longer power on. The DC circuit board assembly was replaced. The rubber grips were found to be worn and stretched and have been replaced. Flange back has been adjusted to be within standard. Firmware has been updated to the latest version. Product functions were confirmed. Now, I understand what that means, but how does something like that happen? Firmware was always up to date. I'm very adamant at updating firmwares. It was just something that I don't necessarily understand how it happened, how I could prevent it in the future. And I put up a reel on IG, and Canon actually responded to it, and they said, oh my God, how frustrating. Contact support, and they left a phone number and the times that they're open. But it's just mind-blowing to me. And I don't make this video just to bash Canon or anything. It's just more to put information out there that, this can happen, and to also just speak on the fact of being prepared financially within your photography business, because sometimes you will have to make those harsh decisions and those quick decisions where you have to replace something on literally a drop of a dime, where I just thank God I had $3,500 to just, I don't want to say blow, but I had $3,500 that I could use in that moment and, save me from not being able to do my job. So, and this also just speaks to just being prepared. This is kind of like a overkill scenario, but I now have 2 R5 bodies. So God forbid one fails, I have another one. I have 2 ZBE ones. If one fails, I have another one. But this just goes to show, like, maybe I should have had, a B camera, like maybe not an R5, but maybe a R6 or maybe an R6 Mark II, just something lower tier So if something did go wrong, I wasn't just SOL, because I was SOL at that moment. All I had on me was my Fuji X100V and my ZB-E1, and neither one of those are like professional, like event photography cameras. X100V is a point and shoot. ZB-E1, it takes photos, but it's not a photography camera, it's video. I would love to know in the future, how could something like this be prevented? What causes this? And I think other Canon users would like to know, because I've seen that this is also an issue on Reddit, and no one has a fix, no one has a response. It's just, yeah, we had to send it in to Canon and get it fixed. So this is more of a, this is what happened, story time type of video, and I just wanted to shed light on it. And I'm just blessed that I was able to come out on top with this. Like I said, just drop money and now have 2 bodies. The other ones, actually, so yeah, I have 2 bodies, which is cool. I mean, there are times where I do rent a second body and, you know, I use 2 bodies, but it's not common that I always need 2 bodies. But I mean, I have 2, and if you're asking why not just return it, I was in Canada when I bought it, and I'm back in the States, so that's like a whole nother thing. I could try to sell it, but I'm not going to get nearly as much as I paid for it with the release of the R5 Mark II. So I'm kind of just like at the point where I think I may just rent this one out and just try to make money back on it slowly. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Just wanted to give you guys a little story time about that. I still think it's so crazy. It's so wild to me. But if you guys want to help support the channel, we'll love you guys subscribe, like the video, and comment down below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.